Chris, welcome back to McAllen. It's been almost 20 years since you were last performing here. What were your thoughts 2 days ago when you just got here?
Well, I wanted to get the vibes of the city because it had been so long. Usually it's we come in and like we did some book sales here, and then but it was hit and run type stuff. So to come back and be able to hang with the people, like last night, we were actually here at the theater and met a lot of people, and then I didn't even know that this strip here existed, and we had a good time all night. So a lot of people that we met last night are coming tonight, and I'm looking forward to playing for them.
You would say a lot of things have changed in 20 years in McAllen.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But back in the day when I was with the Cumbia All-Stars and the Cumbia Kings, helping them out, playing guitar with them, this used to be their home base. Like, we used to take off into Mexico from here. So a lot has changed since then, yeah.
Why did you choose to come back to McAllen specifically?
Well, McAllen, honestly, and I said this in other interviews, it's true that back in the day when we were on tour, we did tours with Mana, we did the Watcha tour, the Vans Warp tour. We did a bunch of tours together, but there was this one where we did like a 5-city Texas tour, and not only considering those shows, but all of them together, there was one that we did here in McAllen that just, even my road manager was like, what got into you guys? That was like the best rock show I've seen. And the energy from the crowd was amazing, so that's why I want to come back.
So it's been 25 years since Selena's death.
Right.
You're planning on making new music to honor her legacy. Tell us about that music. What type of music can we expect?
Well, Resurrection, the first one that I put out, which got us the Grammy for Latin Alternative, was produced by myself and a guy named Julian Raymond. And a lot of those songs were written by myself, John Garza, who's going to be singing here, and Joe Ojeda, who's the keyboard player, who was also in Selena y Los Dinos with me. And that same core group, we started writing again. We have a trip going to Nashville to work with Julian as well. So the sound is going to be, look, I've always said a good song is a good song, so production is just the icing on the cake. But I'm sure there will be some similarities to what we've done in the past, but there will also be some new elements. So,
Is it going to be like a mixture of Tejano and rock and roll?
No, only in the sense that I'm from Texas, so I'm a Tejano, you know what I mean? But as far as the music and that genre, that style, I don't have any plans to record under the Chris Perez Band name and do that style of music. Now, that I'm always recording in the studio, and I just did a song with Signo the other day. A few months back, I did a song with La Mafia. So I still have my foot, in those waters. But as far as what I do with my band, it's a rock thing, so.
And Chris, you went from rock and roll to Tejano and now back to rock and roll. What made you not want to continue with Tejano music?
At the time, I was going through a lot, emotionally, understandably, with everything that had happened, Selena, passing away, and that band kind of dissolving. I was so used to having the team that we had, behind me, Ricky Vela, Suzette, Baby, Joe, and obviously Selena. It was like I couldn't even imagine trying to pick up the pieces and continue doing that genre of music. And I figured, as I'd honor her in the way that I think she'd want me to be. Like she would have wanted me to go out and play what I love to play, and I found myself again through music, I think because I did it the way that I did.
And you're working on a documentary as well. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of stuff going on, and me and my team, we started talking about it, and figured it'd be a good idea to document, and we got some interest from some production companies, and so we're just kind of moving forward with that. Things tend to happen real organically in this camp. We don't really sit down and bang our heads too hard trying to make something work. Like, for example, the hot sauce that we just released about 3-4 weeks ago, which is doing amazingly well. That for me was it was a learning process, but it was also fun. It was exciting. It kind of happened organically again. My business partner and I, we were sitting down at dinner. He asked me about it, if I had ever thought about hot sauce. I'm like, of course I have, but I don't know anything about it. I'm a guitar player, you know what I mean? I don't try to pretend like I'm anything else, guitar player, musician, whatever, songwriter. But he's like, well, let me make some phone calls. And next thing I know, he calls me back. He says that Mark Colombo, one of the coaches for Dallas Cowboys, he was going to be an angel investor. And then next thing I know, recipes started coming in, and we started tweaking them. And it just, next thing I know, here we are. We got bottles of hot sauce.
For us that haven't tried the bottle of hot sauce, describe it to us.
That's a hard one because it doesn't taste like anything out there. I have never tasted anything like it. I didn't want to copy anything that's out there. It's an original recipe. So that's a hard one. I would give it, as far as like on the heat meter, I'd give it, some people give it a 6. I give it a 5, but.
You're a heat expert.
No, there's some silly heat out there, but there's talk of us creating another one, so I think the next one's going to be a little bit hotter.
How many bottles have y'all sold since the release of this bottle?
I'm not sure, but it was a limited edition run, and I already know we surpassed that, and they're making more. So it's still available. It's still available, and I would assume we're going to print some more. Yeah, they're going to get some more made. So.
And I want to go back to the documentary. What is it going to be exactly? What can we expect to see?
Well, it's kind of been, in a weird way, it's something that's been in the making for at least 5-6 years now, because we started a production company. At the time I had been doing a lot of work with Emilio Estefan, and that was kind of where the seed got planted, and we wanted to just document a lot of the things that I was going through, right? Some personal, some that are musical, some on tour, in the studio, things like that. We just thought it would be interesting, and it's an exciting lifestyle, and I'm sure a lot of people want to know some behind the scenes kind of things that are going on with me. I'm not one to, I'm kind of the one that doesn't, as far as the spotlight goes, I kind of shy away from that, and really the only reason that we have the Chris Perez Band is because what else am I going to do? You know what I mean? And I had the Chris Perez Band for a while. I stopped that because it was at the time, it was a lot of hard work to be the front man, and I wasn't used to that. I wasn't used to being the first one, there and keeping the band in order, and the day-to-day things that come along with being a band leader, right? Kind of stressful. So that was when I went on tour with AB. Got back into the Tejano scene, but not as a solo artist, more as just a guitar player, which was fun. I mean, it was like a breath of fresh air again, because all those guys were a machine, and all I had to do was show up and play my parts, But then that feeling came, knocking again. It was time to pick up the rock hat, put it on, and here we are.
And you just mentioned that the band split years ago. How did it come about? Like, hey, let's go back to being a band.
John and I, my lead singer, I remember it vividly. It was summertime, and I was with my dad and my son. And my dad and my son were in my dad's swimming pool, and I was kind of just laying out. And I got a phone call from John, and we started catching up, and he mentioned that he was thinking of doing some acoustic guitar shows by himself. And I said, well, if you're ever in San Antonio, hit me up. I'd love to go up, and we can play some of the Resurrection stuff, together. And then it went from there to, why don't we just try getting everybody together again, and let's see how it goes. No commitments to a tour or a record or anything like that. And he was down to do it. And then the first sign that it was going to happen was I text the other 3 guys, and right as soon as I hit send, I started getting my phone started getting their answers, and everybody was down to do it. So I was like, okay, I guess we're doing it. And then almost, I don't know, call it coincidence or whatever, but immediately after that, I got a call to do a show in Houston, and I was like, how crazy is that? So and then I called all the guys. They were down to do it, and that was our first show was August 24th. And then, between then and now, just starting to write again and create, not trying to put too much pressure on ourselves with touring and things like that, and, just kind of enjoy it a little bit more. And so that's where we are right now.
I know there's a mini tour coming here in Texas. Do you guys have cities you guys plan to visit?
No, if I mentioned them, I'd be guessing. I mean, where I'd like to go, Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, Austin, maybe another show down here in the Valley, El Paso. I know I'm missing a couple of cities, but basically those. And then also, I think like in March or somewhere around March, they want me to go to Brazil. So we'll see if we can figure that out.
How do you feel being back in the scene of music?
I'm excited. The band is sounding better than we have, than I remember, sounding. And that time away, I didn't realize how much I had learned, playing with different people and playing different genres of music and recording in different studios and dealing with different people. And when we all got back together in a room, it was like, it's almost like going back and looking at a picture of yourself in middle school and remembering where your head was at then as opposed to where you're at now, And for me, that's a great thing. It means I'm doing something right.
Yeah. Going back to this documentary, are we gonna know about your love life?
I don't know. I'm real protective of that, my kids, certain things, you know what I mean? And I've always been that way. It's not like I was one way and all of a sudden I've changed into something else. I've always been really guarded about that stuff, kind of not for any particular reason other than I just don't want to have somebody else or my kids put in a position that makes them uncomfortable, And I mean, maybe, who knows?